for everybody. Welcome, everybody. Today we have Brian, who's going to tell us a little bit about the secrets of Colombia, and we're very excited. This session is being recorded, as you know, so please feel free to search later on for the link. And my cat is actually in this live session, so this is live. No questions about it, but yeah, she's interested also in Colombia, but she can't go ever. She's not a good traveler. Anyway, so thank you everybody for being here, and thank you, Brian, and I pass you the presentation for you.
Great, perfect. No, thank you. For us, it's a total pleasure to be here. A pleasure to talk about Secretos de Colombia, Secrets of Colombia. I'm going to jump right in. Let me share the screen. And there we go. Hopefully everyone is able to see. Secrets of Colombia is much more than a bunch of hotels. It's much more than a bunch of destinations. It's something really, really unique here in Colombia. So obviously, when the pandemic fell or came down upon the planet, a lot of us were taken by surprise. And Colombia in particular was closed completely for about 5 or 6 months. And traditionally, we're a country without a lot of chains, and so a lot of the hotels have had to. Well, we have been independent. We have a lot of character, but we've always acted independently. And one of the really, really beautiful things that has come out of the pandemic, I know that most of it is bad, but one of the really, really nice things is that it has allowed a lot of us to come together, and it's also propelled Colombians to get to actually see Colombia. Whereas the culture has always been surrounded around leaving Colombia. So what occurred was a lot of these boutique hotels that we have here in the country, and I'll tell you a little bit about ours, Canua, in a little bit, found ourselves without the big resources to compete with a lot of the big hotels, not knowing what was going to happen in the world and not being accustomed to having to also look strongly at the Colombian market as well as the international market. So we all came together, over 10 of us, about, I think we're at 15 now, came together. We shared resources, we shared knowledge, we shared sustainability policies, we shared biosecurity protocols. We came together and created essentially a Colombian soft brand of the very best, most unique, most experiential destinations and hotels here in Colombia. And the wonderful thing now is that we have become sort of a family of hotels in a country where people sort of traditionally and culturally look at each other as competition. And the wonderful thing is that we've been able to share visitors and travelers between all of us, and we've been able to help each other to make sure that we're all giving the very, very best experience possible and giving people a way to be totally thrilled throughout the entire country of Colombia, which is a destination which is rapidly growing. So that said, before I jump in and I really tell about all of the hotels, I'm going to give a little bit of context because for a lot of people, Colombia is a new destination. They don't know a lot about it. Colombia is sort of this rare jewel in Latin America, in which the vast majority of Latin American countries are are generally, not always speaking, but in general, very, very rich either in biodiversity or in culture. So you'll have a ton of biodiversity and you won't have as much culture. Colombia is sort of that rare jewel where we have both. We have a ton of biodiversity. We also have a ton of culture. So in terms of flora and fauna, we're the second most biodiverse country in the world, and we're #1 in a ton of things. We're #1 in bird species. There are more bird species in Medellin, where I live, than in the entire United States. We're #1 in amphibians and native orchid species, in fruits that are cultivated here, in distinct regions, in emerald supply. We're #2 in just as much. And then we have a whole bunch of cultural things on top of this biodiversity. So we have 17 patrimonial villages, old colonial Spanish villages that are inside of Colombia, in addition to incredible major city destinations like Cartagena, Bogota, Medellin, Cali. And we'll tell you a little bit about some of the gems, some of the hotels in our group that are in some of those villages as well. So the great thing about Colombia is that with the Secretos de Colombia hotel group is that you can literally custom make an itinerary for your travelers, for your visitors, and put them at some of the best hotels in Latin America based on their likes and dislikes, even just within Colombia. To give an idea of how we can be so biodiverse and how we can have all of this, it begins with our geography. So if you look here at the map, you'll see that we are the only country that has 3 ridges of the Andes Mountains: the Western, the Central, and the Eastern. The geography of each of these ridges is going to be very, very different, which has also led not just to a change in biodiversity, but a change in sort of cultural growth over years. In addition to that, we're the only ones in South America that have both Caribbean, so Atlantic, and Pacific coasts. We have the Amazon down here in the south. We have the plains regions in the center of the country. We have 2 deserts. There's a desert down here and a desert up here. We have the best coffee growing regions in the world, and all the culture that I talked about. So throughout the country, there are tons of different national parks, cultural monuments, UNESCO World Heritage Sites, so much to do. And the great thing about the Secretos de Colombia hotel group is that we're placed strategically throughout the country in all of these spots to allow you to enjoy all of this. So to give an idea of where the hotels are located, you can find this map on our website. It's just www.secretosdecolombia.com. And there you can find in Spanish and in English all of the information and learn about each of the hotels specifically. You can go to the websites, you can join our group. We have sort of a faithful customer group that gets benefits at each of the hotels. We also have certain benefits for agents that are signed up to our hotel group as well. And you can see that we're literally throughout the country to give people access to all of these great things to see and to do. Of course, it would be impossible to talk about travel to Colombia without returning to the pandemic and giving a little bit of context. Colombia had sort of a rocky go of things for a while, but we've been really great at getting it under control. Estimates show that between 72 and 82% of the country is fully vaccinated. We're currently at about 1% of our peak, and there's only about 3 cases per 100,000 people. So it is a great place to travel around. Travelers and clients can feel very comfortable going around. In terms of getting into the country, the rules have changed a little bit. It is much easier if you are vaccinated and bring your vaccination card. There are certain places like restaurants and museums that may turn people away if they're not vaccinated. Logistically, it's pragmatically unlikely, but it could happen. But to get into the country, people just have to show a negative PCR test, and it's very easy to get a PCR test to leave to go back to another country. Now, if people are vaccinated, then they are exempt from having to show that test to get into the country. But Colombia has done a great job of controlling what we've been doing with the pandemic, and so people can feel very, very comfortable in coming here. We've seen extreme growth over the years. Most of these statistics here on this page are from before the pandemic. But just to give an idea of the types of growth that we saw from 2016 to 2019, there was a 61% growth in Canadian travelers, almost a 50% growth in United States travelers. The majority of those people were going direct to Medellin and to Cartagena, where there's a lot more new direct flights to Bogota as well. Now there's direct flights to Pereira, which is in another part of the country. And those have helped us out a ton, just having those routes. That said, let's jump into the actual hotels. Let's talk a little bit about these destinations. And we're grouped, if you remember the map before, throughout different parts of the country and the different types of experiences that you can have. One thing that Colombia is extraordinarily famous for is our coffee production. And that's going to happen up in those 3 ridges of the Andes Mountains that I was speaking about before. And the first hotel we want to talk about is Hacienda Bambusa. This hotel is very famous. I recommend booking it and reserving with a lot of headway in time in advance, because if you've seen the movie Encanto, this is the house that inspired the casita, literally the protagonist of the film. And so all of the filmmakers were here at Hacienda Bambusa. If you look at the actual structure of the house, you'll see a lot of similarities with the movie. There are, I believe, 8 rooms in the house. You can rent each room individually. They have different sizes and different features. And you can do all of your meals and you can do all of your activities booked directly with Hacienda Bambusa. And the really neat thing, the really sort of interesting and different thing about this hotel is that it's located in the middle of a 180-hectare cacao farm. And so it's very uncommon in Colombia to find hacienda where people can stay and have that immersive cacao or chocolate experience. And this is the best place to do it. It's located right in the heart of the UNESCO Coffee Region World Heritage Site. So you can do coffee experiences as well. You can walk through bamboo forests, see howler monkeys. You can even take hot air balloons from the back porch of the house. There's a ton of really terrific experiences to do here. And you'll have the experience of staying in a traditional hacienda in the heart of the country of the eastern ridge of the Andes Mountains. This is a really, really spectacular hotel. Like I said, I recommend making reservations well in advance. Just because they run out of space, but terrific, terrific option. You can see here sort of some of the decorations inside. It's got a lot of handmade crafts. It's called bambusa because of if you see in the top right, those guaduas, which are a type of native bamboo that live here. So bambusa would be a big growth of a lot of those. And that is a building structure that's featured a ton throughout the hotel. Now, in the same region, we also have Sasagua. Sasagua is a different type of experience, equally highly recommended. Also recommend booking with a lot of headway. Now they have more rooms. They have about double the quantity of rooms. The hotel has been featured as one of the luxury hotels of Colombia for about 2 decades now. Sasagua is located near the city of Pereira, about 10-15 minutes from the international airport there, located in the heart of the coffee region as well. And equally with Sasagua, you can book experiences like a fruit tasting, coffee tasting, visits to coffee farms, visits to the famous Cacorda Valley. And this is a terrific luxury hotel with a fantastic spa, a really lovely fire pit. At both hotels, you can do musical experiences. And for people who really are looking for comfort with a fantastic on-site restaurant, Sasagua is a spectacular option. Nearby, so there are 3 main cities that are in sort of what we call the coffee triangle: Armenia, which is near Bambusa; Pereira, which is near Sasagua; and then this third one, Manizales, which is near a hotel called Nido del Condor, which is a different concept completely. To get there is very adventurous, very off-road, and it's a really, really great liberating experience. So Nido del Condor is located on the top of a mountain. Literally, to get there, you have to off-road and then take a gondola up to the hotel, which has 5 rooms that are luxury glamping style with all food included here in the experience. And the incredible thing about this is that the hotel is literally located right next to habitat of Colombian condors. So for people who are really into bird watching, it's hard to find a better option than Nido del Condor, because you're going to get to see one of the rarest birds in the Americas, as well as well over 100 other bird species that are living right there in the territory. It's going to be a totally different experience for people who are really into adventure travel, who really sort of want to get off the map and have silence, have time to reconnect with nature. This is going to be one of the best options that you can find, and you're going to be completely comfortable for the entire time that you're there. Now, I'm going to go back internally into my heart. This is Kanua. I'm one of the co-founders. This is located in another ridge of the Andes. So we went from the western ridge over to the central ridge. We're located about an hour and a half from Medellin and about 40 minutes from the international airport. Kanua is designed completely off of permaculture principles, and we're the first hotel in the world built out of compressed earth bricks. We have 18 rooms, 5 of which are superior, 5 are deluxe, and then we have 8 cabañas, 2 which are junior suite, like you can see in the photo there in the middle. We have a high-end restaurant directed by Marconi Righi, who used to work for Michel Bras, in the 5th best restaurant in the world. We have tons of chemical-free gardens and lots of activities like coffee workshops, chocolate tastings, rum tastings. We have a pre-Hispanic hiking trail on the property that you can use to hike to the top of the mountain or to hike all the way to Guatapé, which is a very popular tourist attraction, very near to Medellin. It's one of the most common places to go, as well as much, much more. We also have over 100 bird species on the property, and there's a lot of other really, really interesting activities that you can do in the region. And like some of the other hotels, we also feature guadua, which is one of the most sustainable building materials that we have here in Colombia. It actually has a higher tensile strength than iron itself. So if you want to be in the mountains, and like I was showing you on the map, the great thing with Colombia is you don't have to choose between a mountain vacation and an ocean vacation. You can do both. And so these are some of the really great options up in the Andes that are in sort of the coffee territory. But like I was mentioning in the beginning, we also have really great patrimonial sites. We have 17 colonial towns that will give people a really, really wonderful portal hundreds of years back into history. And they'll get to do really exciting things while they're there. The first hotel I want to talk about is Casa Barichara. This is a terrific experience if people want to have the sense of being in a colonial home. So Casa Barichara has 6 rooms. It literally is an old, several hundred-year-old colonial home, which has been turned into this small boutique hotel. They work a ton with the community. There's a lot of hiking nearby, cooking classes that can be done, art projects that can be done. And one of the really cool things with this town of Barichara is it's very famous for having these homes that are made out of compressed earth called a tapia pisada, which is an old, several hundred-year-old building technique from here in Colombia. And if people really want to have this sensation of connecting with historical Colombia, it will be very, very difficult to find a better option than Casa Barichara. Also within the same town, just as enchanting of an experience is Casa Yari, which is run by the same administration of Hacienda Bambusa, with the same high quality that you'll find in both locations. And Yari, I believe, has 4 or 5 rooms. In a lot of these places, you can do full house rentals as well. Yeah, I know with Bambusa, I believe it's Sazagua and Canoa and Barichara as well as Yari. And you can do them with private chefs if you want. And the great thing with Yari is it's located in one of the most exclusive sectors of this town of Barichara. You can do a lot of the same activities and be in a luxury remodeled modern home. So even there within Barichara, you're going to have 2 types of options for the 2 types of feels that you want to have. You can have very colonial, very local, or you can have this high-end luxury in a totally new remodeled home with lots of handcrafted furniture. Both are just going to be fantastic, spectacular options. Moving to one of the other 17 patrimonial sites that we have here in Colombia is a town called Mompos or Mompox. If you see them spelled with an S or with an X, it's the same town. And Mompos is really interesting. It's one of the fastest growing destinations here in Colombia. It's sort of a scaled down version of Cartagena, not really, but that's kind of how you would compare it, located on the Magdalena River. And some of the things that are helping this location to grow a ton is that they're now they've reopened the airport there, and there are direct flights to Medellin and I believe to Bogota as well. You can also charter flights from other locations into Mompos, and this is a great time to travel there because you're going to be able to take clients before it's quote unquote discovered. And San Rafael is one of the most enchanting houses that are there in Mompos, where you can see, you're located right near the Magdalena River, which historically is one of the most important rivers in terms of the foundation of Colombia, both for the indigenous as well as the colonials. And much like the homes that you saw in Barichara, you're going to get this very modern, restored colonial feel. So you get a great idea for what the village is like. If you want a really good time to go to Mompos in April during Semana Santa, which is the Holy Week leading up to Easter, there are these really, really incredible processions that go throughout the town. And San Rafael is going to book up very, very fast. So that's definitely something that you will want to book with a lot of anticipation. But people will be in ultimate comfort while they're there as well. The other great thing about these towns is they're not just beautiful, there's a ton to do all around them. Barichara has a really fast growing culinary scene. There's a lot of handicrafts with old forms of working with threads, with working with baskets and weaving and pottery. And then the other thing with Barichara, which makes it spectacular, is it's right near a town called San Gil, about half an hour away by car, which is known for extreme sports. So there is some of the best rafting that I've done. It's really, really incredible, and it's easy go from either Casa Barichara or Casa Yari. And for people who want to mix adventure sports with some of the more historical and cultural visits, it's a great way to go. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the mountains. Let's move now towards the sea and towards the oceans. And like I mentioned, the Pacific coast and the Atlantic coast go throughout Colombia. They're going to be very different. The Pacific coast is absolutely stunning and beautiful. It's a lot less developed and it's a lot less touristic than the Caribbean coast, where you have these large white sand beaches, really warm waters, great scuba diving, and just beautiful scenery. And so I'm going to start in the town of Santa Marta, which is actually where I got married, because it's just so incredibly beautiful. It is the place on Earth that has snow-capped peaks closest to the ocean. And there, one of the best hotels that you're going to find, bar none, is going to be Villa Playa Tayrona. Now, Villa Playa is really interesting because it is located right near Parque Tayrona, which is one of the most popular national parks in Colombia. And people think that Parque Tayrona is just the main entrance. It's actually this enormous, one of the biggest parks in the country. There's tons of places to go. And about 2 kilometers from the opening of the park is this wonderful sector called Los Naranjos. And that's where you're going to find Villa Playa, which I believe has 5 or 6 rooms in it. And the incredible thing is that it's located right where a freshwater river flowing down from the Sierra Nevada is going to empty out into the ocean. So you're going to get this incredible combination of biodiversity where you'll have these beautiful peaks with tons of endangered species and animal life, monkeys, toucans, and different types of parrots behind you. And then you're going to have the Caribbean right in front of you. So Villa Playa is fantastic for people who want to go visit the Caribbean. They don't necessarily want to be in one of the big cities. Now, it's about an hour from Santa Marta, a little bit less. You can visit Santa Marta, the city, if you wanted. But really, people go to Villa Playa and they don't want to leave. You have the beach, you have the pool, you can hike nearby, you can visit. There are 4 indigenous tribes that still live up in the Sierra Nevada mountain behind the hotel. So there you can plan visits up there. There's fantastic food right here at the hotel. It's really a destination where people can go and sit for 3-4 days and not have to move and be in ultimate comfort. Now, moving down the Caribbean coast, let's move to Cartagena, which is obviously one of the most famous destinations in Colombia and one of the most popular. There's hardly a person who comes to Colombia and doesn't want to visit Cartagena. And the incredible thing is that we have 2 of the best hotels in South America right here, about a block from each other. Maria Elvira, who's also on the call, can help me in a couple of minutes if she wants. But I want to start by talking about Casa San Agustin, which is a leading hotels of the world hotel. Casa San Agustin, I believe, has 32 rooms. It's been voted the best hotel in Colombia. They have a terrific restaurant at the base called Alma. This hotel is another one that books way in advance. I definitely recommend trying to book, especially for the end of the year. And it's important to know at the end of December, oftentimes in Cartagena, there are limitations with the number of nights minimum that people can book hotels. So definitely, if you're booking clients for the end of the year, you're going to want to make sure that they're in Cartagena for at least 3 to 5 nights. And you're not going to find a better option than Casa San Agustin, which is obviously going to be one of the most luxurious options that you can give people. It's going to be a renovated, several hundred-year-old home. Really, I think the hotel speaks for itself. It is a Virtuoso member as well. So if any of you are Virtuoso, you will have benefits with the hotel. Here you can see inside some of the rooms, the pool, big air conditioning units, which in Cartagena is great because it definitely gets very hot and humid there. And they have a terrific bar at Alma as well. And the great thing about being a guest at Casa San Agustin is Alma is one of the most popular restaurants. And as a guest, you're going to have better access to getting a reservation into the restaurant. Quadrifolio, which is Maria Elvira's hotel, is also one of the most charming. It's been voted the best boutique hotel in the Americas, I believe, twice. There are 8 rooms at the hotel. And the fantastic thing that gives you a little bit of difference now, Quadrifolio and Casa San Agustin work together a lot. Quadrifolio is going to give you a different option in that you can rent the rooms or you can rent the hotel itself. The hotel is going to have a little bit more of a classic Cartagena house look to it. It's called Quadrifolio because when they were renovating the hotel, if I go back one page and you see this logo here, lots of the rooms had these very old windows with this quadrifolio, with this sort of clover shape to them, which is a very, very old colonial way of building. And so immediately when people enter the hotel, they're going to have this connection to what Cartagena was like several hundred years ago. All of the rooms are very big. They're very, very comfortable. And once you enter the house, you'll see that it's got this classic form with its old Spanish style of building, where it's got sort of the open air patio in the middle, right next to this huge dining room table that you'll see here. And then above on the second floor, you'll have not just other rooms, but you also have this terrific, beautiful library. So there's a salon on the first level, but there's also this terrific library on the second floor. So if any of you have executive meetings or people who want to have a private space to eat or do rum tastings or do a cooking class, this room is actually one of the best places in Cartagena to be able to do an event like that. You'll be right on the street. You're located right near the theater of the old city. Both of these hotels are in the old walled city of Cartagena. So you'll be in one of the most exclusive sectors as well. So both Casa San Agustin and Quadrifolio are about the best options you could have in Cartagena. And they're going to give you two distinct feels, which is fantastic. So within the Secretos de Colombia group, what we have are all these hotels that are throughout the country, but that also give you options for your clients based on their personalities as well. Now, Cartagena, obviously right here, it's the jewel of the Caribbean. And there are several beach options, not in the city itself, but near the city. So a lot of people think a lot about the Rosario Islands, the San Bernardo Islands, but there's another option, which is an area called Baru. And Baru is fantastic because you can get there either by boat or you can get there by car. And so Las Islas is a fantastic option because it gives you flexibility with your clients, because a lot of people will finish their trips in Cartagena and then they have to worry about being able to get back to the airport. And so if there's inclement weather, Las Islas allows you to have flexibility with the transport and not have to worry too much about times. Other than that, it's one of the best hotels in Colombia. So it's leading hotels of the world. The project took about 10 years to develop. They worked very, very closely with the community. There are 61 or 62 rooms, which are these bungalow styles, which you can see here on this bottom photo, which are throughout the entire property. They feature 3 restaurants, which are all gourmet eating. They have several types of cabañas, which are treetop or beach as well. And the great thing with these hotels is that they're going to give you a few different options as well. So both Casa San Agustin and Quadrifolio are going to have their own boats to visit the islands if you want. I believe San Agustin also has its own beachfront property if you want to rent that for a day. And then Las Islas, which is right on the beach, also will have an island option included for guests. Now, guests who want to go to that option, the very first thing that they should do when they get to the hotel is walk up to reception and ask to go. Because it's given out on a first come first serve basis. You can't reserve it with ahead of time, but you're going to be in total luxury the entire time. So here, the treetop rooms are going to have jacuzzis. The seaside rooms are going to have pools integrated into them. And the fantastic thing about Las Islas and Quadrifolio and San Agustin is that you have a ton of different activities that you can do. They're all either close enough to the beach or the city that you can combine those activities with activities outside. And here near Baru, there are bioluminescent bays, kayaking, boating, and all of these hotels are going to be able to set up these activities for you. So if you're going to head to either Santa Marta or down to Cartagena, literally all of the hotels that you will need for your clients, you'll be able to find within the Secretos de Colombia group. And just as a quick reminder, if you go to the website, which is secretosdecolombia.com, you'll be able to find more information on all of these hotels in English and in Spanish, and you can contact us directly and we can help direct you to the person who can give you more information, or you can contact each of the hotels directly as well. So our Soft Brand Alliance works very, very closely together. So here you can see just some general photos of Cartagena, of the area. and the types of things and activities that you can do up here on the Caribbean coast. Now we're going to move back towards the interior of the country and towards the south, because we've talked about the mountains, we've talked about the beach. What we haven't talked about are the jungles and the rivers, and we have some of the most famous ones in the world here in Colombia. So the first thing I want to talk about is La Manigua Lodge. La Manigua, which was started by Juan Pablo, is a 5-room hotel located in an area called Meta. Meta is really spectacular. It's sort of off the beaten path, and it's incredible because it's going to be a point where the Andes Mountains sort of finish, and right at the foot of this, you're going to see the plains region on the Orinoco Valley sort of swinging like this, and then from the south, you're going to have the Amazons come up. So you're going to have this very, very distinct biodiverse range that you're not going to find in other parts of Colombia. And you're going to be able to stay there in these wonderful cabañas that are perfect for solo travelers, couples, families, friends who are going together. And you can arm together the entire packet of activities that you want to do directly with La Manigua, which works a ton with the local community as well. La Manigua can help you with transport getting to the hotel. Passengers or travelers would fly into Bogota, then take a plane to La Macarena, to another region, which is a little bit close to the hotel, and then take a short drive. Now, La Manigua is great not just for biodiversity and animals and seeing these 3 regions, but also because it is located very close. I'll show you a picture in a few minutes. It is very close to a region called Caño Cristales, or the River of 7 Colors, which is often called the most beautiful river in the world. So in the second semester of the year, this river lights up with a bunch of different colors caused by some plants and that live and activate that are in the river. And this becomes one of the most popular destinations for foreigners and for locals as well to go see the incredible beauty of this river. So if you're going to plan, I definitely recommend contacting La Manigua with a lot of time as well in order to be able to put together this plan, make sure that your clients can get in to actually see the river, and they will have one of the most beautiful, spectacular, off the beaten path experiences that you can potentially have in Colombia. I also want to talk about Calanoa, because we're going to move from sort of that area in the middle where these places are all meeting, and we're going to move down into the Colombian Amazon. Now, the Colombian Amazon has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of the countries that touch the Amazon. The Colombian Amazon is among the most protected and the least touched. Calanoa is a favorite of National Geographic. It is a small hotel. I forget if it has 6 or 8 rooms, and it's one of the most sustainable destinations in Colombia, and by far one of the most sustainable hotels that you'll visit in the Amazon. They've been operating for a number of years. They operate directly with their community, and they have their own private reserve. One of the terrific things about when people visit Calanoa is that they're going to feel not just like they've visited the Amazon, but that even when they were in their room, they were incorporated with the wilderness that was going on around them. Calanoa is located near one of the major cities in the Amazon called Leticia. So people can fly from Bogota to Leticia and then take a boat up the Amazon River to the hotel. The hotel, like I was saying, is located within its own reserve, but they can also put together all the activities and food that people will need for the time that they're there in the Amazon. And those activities are going to include things like visiting indigenous communities, seeing ancestral medicine, visiting the Tarapoto Lake, which is one of the most famous in the Colombian Amazon and one of the most well protected, seeing pink river dolphins, fishing for piranha, seeing wildlife, and much, much more. The really incredible thing about this region of the Colombian Amazon is that it is located within the largest border in the world in which passports aren't required to cross. So when somebody goes to Leticia, they're a 5-minute cab ride over to Tabatinga in the Brazilian side. The whole other side of the river is Peru. And then when you're on the Colombian side, obviously you're within Colombia. And Calanoa works closely with all of the surrounding communities so that people can have this really intense, immersive cultural experience while staying within all of the comforts of a hotel that would be part of the Secretos de Colombia group. So here you can just see some of the different types of photos up there in the top right. You can see Caño Cristales, which I was talking about. I'm not sure if These are blocking. Let's see if you can see it a little bit better there. You can see a lot of the animals and the other incredible types of things that we have here in Colombia. The final thing, the final group of hotels that we'll talk about are the urban escapes. So I've mentioned a lot of the areas outside of the big cities, but there are incredible city destinations within Colombia as well. And the first one I want to talk about is our dear Medellin. I'm obviously a little bit biased on this because I live in the Medellin area. And one of the newest and best hotels that we have here in the city is El Cielo. Which was founded by Chef Juan Manuel Barrientos. Juanma was the first Colombian chef to win a Michelin star for his restaurant El Cielo in Washington, D.C. So his flagship restaurant is here in Medellin at the base of the hotel. There are 37 rooms in the hotel, which are all very, very modern. They are all designed to function well with the feel of the city and be in the El Poblado sector, which is one of the most exclusive sectors in the city. And it gives people a way to be in ultimate comfort and really, really enjoy the city of Eternal Spring while staying in this really, really beautiful hotel. And there are tons of activities to do in Medellin. So a lot of people think that, oh, Medellin is for 1 or 2 days. Believe me, you can stay in Medellin easily for 11 days and not run out of things to do. And if you're going to be in the city, it's hard to find a hotel that's going to match or even come close to the types of comforts that you'll have at El Cielo. Plus, for foodies, is fantastic because you'll have great meals included, but they will have a chance to make a reservation at this extraordinary tasting menu restaurant. Nearby, for people who want a different feel, who want a little bit more of a quaint colonial feel, much like the other cities we also have Patio del Mundo. Patio del Mundo is a seven-room boutique hotel. All of the rooms have a different theme based off of the travels of the owners. Patio del Mundo is owned by a French family that's been here in Medellin for quite a long time. And it's going to have a lot of the comforts that they've looked for when they've traveled around. But within this boutique setting, they recently opened up another house nearby to expand the options that they have. And here people will be able to have massages, jacuzzis, walk through their gardens, and they'll stay in a very quiet residential sector of El Poblado. So they'll be nearby, whereas El Cielo will be in more of the restaurant district where people can walk around to restaurants and bars. Patio del Mundo is a little bit more removed to give a little bit more of a quiet feel where people can still do the same activities that we have here in the city. So like I was mentioning at the beginning, when the Secretos de Colombia hotels, when we all came together, part of our motivation was to share knowledge and best practices between each of us. So we're all going to abide by a lot of these same best practices, which include sustainable initiatives. You'll have hotels like Canoa and Calanoa and La Manigua, which are focused almost entirely on sustainability as much as the rest of their comforts. Commitment to our territories. Lots of these hotels work with their local communities and make sure that we're having a positive impact so that travelers can feel great about where they're staying. And a lot of us are very, very committed to using local products. So, you know, when somebody asks me what is the point of tourism, I always say it's to help the locals, right? Like travelers want to have a great experience, but the idea is that they're not just taking, that they're also giving something back. And when people stay at the Secretos de Colombia hotels, like I was saying, they can feel very, very good about the experience that they're having and the impact that they're having on the local economy. So these are some pictures just to show some of the work that we do. These are pictures from La Manigua and some of the community services that they work with. A lot of us are focused on conservation. At Canoa, we have trap cameras. We're doing registers of the different animals we have. I know at Calanoa, they do the same thing. Our Hotel Canoa is based off permaculture principles, which is a philosophy based in the observation of nature. And part of our goal was literally leaving our property better off after the construction than before it. And that's a lot of the same ideals that a lot of these hotels have. A lot of them are very creative. They've come up with new ways to try and help the local community. Calanoa, for example, has worked with musicians from other parts of the country and other parts of the world to help give new programs to children who are there in the Amazon to make sure that visitors aren't just in those places, but they're giving funds that are having an impact beyond just the time that they're staying at that hotel. These are some of the different nonprofits that we work with as different hotels within the group. And this is just to show that these are things that we have shared since we started as a hotel group during the pandemic. So it's been a while. I know everybody has a lot of other meetings. I'll stop there to see if anybody has any questions at the moment. I think I have stopped sharing my screen.
Yes,
are there any questions?
Sharing. That's fine.
Perfect. Are there any questions about Colombia or the hotel group?
Excellent presentation. And I agree with Lena. It was very, very nice, very informative. I learned a lot. Beautiful places. I can't wait to go and visit them, actually.
Great.
Did you say we can sign up online as agents, Debbie?
Yes, you can. Debbie, yes, great question. You can. There should be still a link active to do so on the Secretos de Colombia website. If for some reason you can't have it, I'm going to put in the chat here my email address. You can always email me directly, or you can, oops, hang on. Let's make this to everyone. You can always email me directly, or you can email everybody, or you can do a contact through the website, and we'll set that up. And we do give certain benefits at each hotel to agents who are members of Secretos de Colombia.
Perfect.
Thank you, Andres.
Thank you. Yeah. It is wonderful. Wonderful options. And I'm sure the gastronomic experience in each one of them is so different.
It's really cool. So like I was showing in the map at the beginning, as Colombia is divided into so many different regions, sort of historically, it wasn't so easy for during the colonial times for people to move around. So if you lived on the coast, it was very, very arduous to get up into the mountains. If you lived in the mountains, it was even arduous to cross between the ridges. So because of that, the cultures are different. The food that's grown is different. The types of foods that are eaten and made are very different. So, the one thing that you'll see all over Colombia are arepas, right? Which are sort of these corn cakes. And, people say like, oh, I liked this or I didn't like that. And I'll say, well, Colombia has 47 different types of arepas. You can imagine in a country where the main food is arepa, and we have 47 different types. You can imagine the expanse of gastronomic experiences that you can have throughout the country.
So much. I think I've tried 2 of those. One is with the egg and the other one with lots of butter.
Oh, that's up on the Caribbean coast. Yeah, those are amazing. The ones with the eggs are awesome. Those are fried. They're maybe like a once a month, once every 6 months type thing, not an everyday thing, but they're amazing. Yeah.
Hard to make. I wouldn't even try it, but yeah, they're
definitely.
Okay, well, we don't have any more questions. This is going to be available for everybody as a recording of the presentation, because I know everybody thought it was very, very nice and explained really well these different areas and different places. So excellent. So thank you, Brian. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for participating. I wish you the best of what's left of Census of South America. Yeah.
Yes, I hope everybody does great. Debbie just put one question. May we use photos from the website for our social media? Yes, absolutely. The other thing is, if you want high-res photos from any of the hotels, please feel free to contact us. We have high-res from each hotel, and we can definitely share those for social media or proposal use or anything else. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the key to promoting. So
yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of Census, and best of luck.
Thank you, Brian. Good luck, everybody, and have a wonderful Thursday.